Ruby, Wukong, Poppy, Trundle, Azir. It's a real farm in the bans.
Yeah, it definitely is. Not too surprised to see she'll collect a couple of bans there. BDSA kind of focusing towards the mid lane here for Phantomless. Ekas on his Trundle pick as well. See what they're trying to eye up, as typically BDSA do kind of lean on strong side top when you have Adam in your top lane. You're not normally playing tanks. That's just kind of how it goes. So we'll see what else they will look to remove away. It looks like it will just be this Talia. So there's not going to be any of that going on, but SK Prime will actually take up this Vi as a first pick, taking a page out of the Unicorns of Love's book. We'll see what the response will be from BDSA for anybody who didn't watch that final game of the day yesterday, the other France versus Germany clash, Dark versus LFL. That was a very funny game. I recommend you go back and watch it. I won't spoil the result, but what I will say is one Zeri got very much hard bullied by a Vi and didn't really get to play the game too much. And I think this is a very smart response here from BDSA. Picking up this Ahri, it's kind of very strong combination, the Vi and the Ahri, right? The Vi goes in, knocks up the target with the ultimate, and then the Ahri dashes forward, locks down the target with the charm, and it's very easy just to follow up off of those two pieces of CC in a chain. And so I'm going to deny away that opportunity for SK Prime to have that, and also Ahri as a pick, kind of slippery to lock down as well from the Vi's point of view. So we'll see what SK Prime decide to do. If this was MSI, you'd start to immediately think about the Lissandra pick here. Of course, try and give yourself a lot more hard CC. And with the Sivir potentially being locked in here, it's the expectation. You would set yourself up for a very strong teamfight combination with this B2, B3.
Coach Shimada, Lissandra has been locked in, giving themselves the opportunity to still go for that big follow-up. It's not necessarily as explosive as the Ahri ulted to charm is, because it's just a little bit slower, really. It does the exact same
CC,
job.
though.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, it's Lissandra, one of the highest CC champs in the League of Legends. So one to keep your eyes out for, and a champion that we've been seeing a little bit more of as utility comes back into vogue. And it's going to be the marksman, going to be Hoven next. They were considering Sivir, but it is the Zeri that's finally locked in.
That one's kind of interesting to me, because now if BDSA decide to go Sivir, which would make a whole bunch of sense, she can just spell shield the ultimate if it's Vi that's going in first. So that's never really the sort of chain of engage that you can look to take. You'd have to kind of stack members on. So I'm really curious to see what the option will be here for BDSA. They're actually going to ignore the AD carry lock-in altogether and give Shio his Lee Sin.
Hear me out on this. Lisa locked in, cool, aggressive jungler. Heimerdinger. Bot lane.
Okay.
Zeri, Lissandra, both pretty short-range champions at range. Vi is melee, so I don't need to explain that. How do they League of Legends against the Heimerdinger Lulu?
I mean,
that's all I'm saying. I'm not going to let you correct me, because if you can't correct me...
No, see, the thing is, I can't really fault the full process. It's not that flawed. But then you have Heimerdinger on the team, and we saw that for match code. So moving forward, BDSA just going to take a couple more engage options off the table. The Ornn, wouldn't be too surprised to see something like the Sejuani also taken away, just to kind of strip away some more topside engage dive options. And with that Olaf ban targeted towards Adam, you would actually probably expect that is what SK Prime are looking towards. So that should force out that Sejuani ban in the next rotation, and it's kind of up to SK Prime as to what they want to remove away from Adam's champion pool. You'd kind of expect maybe a Aatrox ban to follow up, maybe, if you're continuing down that route. Or you could just remove away the Sivir if you don't really care about that Aatrox pick as well. Then you kind of take the next tier of AD carries down. I think one thing to definitely also note is that Crowley wouldn't be too opposed potentially to playing something like the Kog'Maw, but I think into Vi Lissandra it could be a pretty tough ask, but the laning phase is probably not too bad into Zeri, I have to imagine. But the Nautilus taken off the board, they don't have to deal with more dive engage, more point and click CC. That's over to SK Prime in what they want to do here. Sivir, Aatrox for Adam, I think those are probably the two strongest options. And they're going to take away that AD carry pool because it just makes a little more sense. Now there's not really too many S tier AD carries still up and available. Probably still maybe look towards Aphelios as that next one.
But again, it's a champion that needs to stand still, very easy to catch out. It's going to be the top laner actually locked in, Renekton. They're throwing the gauntlet down. Okay,
very interesting. So there are a lot of top lane bans down, and with Renekton being locked in, it's one of the few champions that can actually really kind of hard bully that Sejuani, especially with the Blazer and King build as well. Aloys can still take it, even if the lane sucks for the team fights, of course. But this is a lot for BDSA to give Crowny, right? They're saying, we want you to see all 5 picks before you go for your AD carry lock-in. Aloys will still pick up the Sejuani in the end. So a lot of dive and engage tools available. SK Prime now eyeing up their next pick for Seal. One thing I want to note is that the Renata is still up and available through all of this. That could definitely be a very strong enchanter pairing between the two. Giving bailout to pretty much all of these champions is actually a pretty strong tool. Having that potential for a reset, definitely very strong, but they hover that pike for a very long time, and we're going to get it out of Seal. Very exciting stuff.
Just go in.
Some death from below. Just go in. Yeah, and I mean, it just makes so much sense when you've got all that lockdown, right? It kind of sets up for those resets to start to come through. And now team fighting snowball, so prevalent. Death from below, the husks from Lissandra passive, you know, giving Zeri the space to Zeri game. That's the scary thing here for SK Prime. BDS will respond with the Felios, which you were kind of expecting for a little while.
Cowardly to not go for the Heimerdinger with Sejuani and Pike also both being melee. But they will go for the more meta standard pickup. A little bit worried about this Aphelios and how he stays alive for more than 2 seconds during any given team fight, because, hey, I'm looking at the peel options he's got, and Lee Sin, Ari may not be next to him. Lulu's good, but also may well be dead. And Renekton, I feel, Crowny, I'm scared for you, mate. I'm terrified.
As am I, but I think for BDSA, right, they have a very strong top side matchup to play into. Even though the bottom side potentially looks a little bit rough, if they can get the Renekton going, it could definitely potentially cause some issues for this SK Prime lineup, because there's a lot of CC. Depending on what runes Adam decides to go, if he just stacks a whole bunch of tenacity and, you know, he's got all of the extra HP from the build, Dominus as well, he could very well shred the team with a lot of, you know, support from the Ludo, actually, as opposed to that. The spell's kind of being dumped into Crowny's back pocket. So we'll see how things line up for SK Prime and BDS8. We're here on to the Rift for game number 5, Will.
Yeah, we are. It is game number 5. We've got SK Prime on the blue side. We've got BDS Academy, on the red. Differing fortunes in their first game, as the SK Gaming Prime will be spotted out on the old ward, so won't be able to get too aggressive down on the bot side. But Jamada, just a quick look over those keystones. Anything jump out at you?
Nothing in particular, no. Spellbook on Rika is actually quite interesting, I suppose. But I think the idea is he probably wants teleport. I think he had teleport, I'm pretty sure. And we'll look to swap over to the cleanse. Oh no, sorry. Okay, so he's got cleanse and will want to swap over to the teleport every now and again, but also just having different summon spells, very important. But it's just a very clever adaptation that you'll every now and again see into this Lissandra matchup, as topside BDSA don't think they'll actually pounce. Unless Aloys actually just decides to face check the bush.
Does he know?
No, there's no information. They didn't pass over anything. I think this is going to be a
but look at him.
He's just waiting, because they kind of have a relatively good understanding that this is a very strong top side for BDSA to play through. And unfortunately, this lane invade goes unspotted. So Ekasa might not have any information that his blue buff is going to be gone. So we're going to have to track where his pathing actually goes. Because you can see on the top side, Adam does something very smart here. He enters through to the top side, kind of as if he came from the tri-brush. So he sold this really well. Now Ekas has no idea that his blue buff's gone, but because this pathing is so unorthodox, he's going to actually end up there early, and there's no smite from Shio. There's no smite on Shio.
He's going to have to look to escape, but we'll get the spot out, and Ekas will be able to get his Gromp, but no blue buff, of course, is lost out. But both junglers just causing mischief in the early levels.
But this is honestly a big win for Ekas, because the Gromp is one of the camps that gets you level 3 early, and because Ekas's pathing was so unique, shall we say, phantomless in trouble.
This is some problematic times for the Sergeant, but you know,
Glacial Path, level 2, not too bad, very smart. But yeah, now Ekas has the opportunity to be level 3 already, go back towards his red buff, and then cover the bottom side of the map anyway, so he's honestly alright with that. Oh wait, no, he didn't take a buff. I forget,
no,
you need the buff XP, yeah, so I always forget, I always feel like Gromp gives you default level 3 off the free cap, so obviously the blue buff, red buff give you a little bit more XP than a regular camp. So just leashes some of the XP over. Now he's on the blue buff of Shio, and will Shio go to the blue buff first? No, he won't. No. So this is now Ekas's blue buff, and SK Prime will also move up from the bottom side to assist this invade. So honestly, really interesting pathing from both of these junglers. Quite enjoyed tracking this so far. It looks like he's going to stick around for the Gromp, though. Will Shio finish his wolves and decide to path down? No, doesn't want to do it. This is a fun little game with
do you know what?
I have to say,
the jungle camp respawn timers are going to be completely ruined this game. Like, there's just no way that anyone's going to be able to track any of it because it's just been... The red buff's still up for SK. There's... Oh, goodness gracious me. The rest of the lanes have been going pretty much as you'd expect. Necessarily, there hasn't been much interaction. Seal looking aggressive though, maybe gonna go fishing, finds a Lulu. Erdot flashing away from the gank and putting a bit of damage down onto Ekaz as he moves away. But let's talk about BDS Academy for a second, shall we, Jamada? I know that you had a deal chat with Middlecott, who's done some English coverage of the LFL this season. And what do you make of this team coming into this tournament?
Yeah, so I mean, BDSA had a bit of an up and down summer split, to say the least. But one thing that they were always pretty consistently able to do was utilize Adam's laning strengths and kind of play a very strong top side, right? Rika, individually, even though he might not have had the best LEC spring split with Mad Lions, is still a very, very talented mid laner in his own right. And they've been able to utilize his skills a lot better than that Mad Lions lineup were able to work a lot stronger as a unit. So Shio will be followed over with that Vault Breaker.
Yeah, caught out, flash.
Yeah. Not too bad. And you'll see BDSA often try and play around these lanes very frequently. It's why very good sort of information at the gathering attempt at the early game from Alloys to kind of see whether or not they were going to that lane invade. Obviously missed out here, so this could just be death. I think Ekaz can just flash and him just about cancelled.
Okay, Adam, you recall, mate. That'll be that'll be a good time for everyone involved. But SK looking the more active of the two sides so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been activity on both sides, right? It's just about SK Prime. Maybe it feels like they've been yielding slightly bigger results on the sort of responses as Rika looking for a little bit of information here. Would actually just complete this roam
Rika
entirely? No, he doesn't want to.
Might catch Phantomless on the rotation though. Shia moves in to steal away the Raptors, but at this stage no one owns any camps because both junglers lost the right to that with the early game pathing and whatever they're still doing. As
red buff is still level 1.
Bro, nah. But for real, Shio and Ekaz, if you
is
two
in
could,
shambles.
I could hear Veteran crying from here. Like, Shio's still looking to invade, and they've got both teams have committed to this shenanigans. Looking forward, but can't find the hook. The damage coming on Phantomless, who will be able to ult himself. Caught up. The BDS have multiple members. Shio diving forward, so is Rika with the ultimate. The damage is there from the Ahri. The first blood goes over to BDS Academy, and Rika and Shio finally tries to start up this red buff.
Oh, it's a disaster, man. It's just a full face of it's just mud in Phantomless' mouth as he hits the wall there with the flash. But that looks so good for SK Prime. They had the level 6 from Phantomless. They had the opportunity to try and lock down Shio. No flash on him. They could look to try and burst him down, get a lot of chain CC going. It just doesn't work out. It's such an excellent charm from Rika. You can see here the flash forward from Seal, of course, also goes wide, and that's a crucial thing to note. But with Phantomless being locked up by that charm, the CC follow-up was maybe always going to be a little bit limited, and yeah. That's rough.
Slow-mo zoom in on that. Come on, lads.
The observers.
The observers. Causing as much mischief as Shio has been so far in this matchup. But that is first blood going down. Again, Dragon not taken super early because it is a time commitment, and Lee Sin and Vi have been busy. They've been busy. They've been busy. Like, not necessarily.
They've been doing stuff.
It's unorthodox, but we'll see how it pans out for both of them, as Rift Herald going to be on the map in about 40 seconds time. Shio once again checking out the blue buff, seeing what's going on. Ekaz is on the same side of the jungle. Will he catch out Lee Sin?
I think the crucial thing to note here is that Ekaz might actually get level 6 if he takes away this blue buff. But the smite is there for Shio, so that one goes over to him. Aloys was making the rotation down. Maybe if Ekaz had smite, he would have gotten in range for it, but unfortunately, not able to steal that one away. Taken by Shio. Yeah, really in love with that topside jungle, trying to do what he can to facilitate any kind of lead he may for Adam, who has actually secured himself a pretty big CS lead 1-to-1 with Alloys. 500 gold lead, not too shabby. Going towards that Blade the Rune King, of course. That's kind of the big point of power at the moment for this Renekton. See how he can dominate the 1v1 on the side lane. Despite all that, though, right now, SK Prime, they've started this one up, but they don't have first move from mid, and Adam can very quickly rotate down.
With the ultimate catches out Shiro, dives back forward, looking to escape, but the Vi ultimate follows him all the way, and Phantomus secures the kill. Now Rika in retreat, caught out by Seal. He goes fishing, finds a fox, caught up with the ultimate, and has to cleanse away. Erdon is here for a little bit of support, but the objective will go the way of SK Gaming Prime. It's in Akas's pocket.
Yeah, really good stuff from SK Prime. Just very decisive on the engage there, and they're able to pick up themselves a kill. Also the Herald. See what they get done with it. BDS, it looked like it could have been potentially good for them. This is a 1v1. Gadget, though, against White-Red. Crownie's Aphelios. Armor will be blown on one side, but not the other. So Lightning Crash will go on cooldown. Definitely, I think, a fight that, if I had to wager a guess, Crownie would have probably won, given his gun combination. So strong in the 1v1, but look at this. Up on the top side, whilst all of that was going on, Adam didn't end up rotating to the Rift Herald scuffle because he recognized his team was losing. So 3 plates to his name. Has to be approaching that Blade of the Ring King pretty shortly, you'd have to imagine. Should be sat on a fair amount of gold with all of the extra plates he's picked up for himself.
And I mean, this is the other side of that matchup, you know. This is the Sejuani gameplay that happens when you're against a champion that can cause pressure, can deal damage to you, and can force you out. There's already almost 1,000 gold lead for the Renekton. Adam having an excellent time. Sejuani got involved in one of those kills around that Rift Herald, but hasn't really been able to do too much or be too impactful further than that. And it's going to be a much different game for Aloy, you've got to imagine, than it was for Chasey last time around.
Yeah, definitely so. A lot harder to navigate this matchup. That's why you pick it. And even though SK Prime, they knew they were picking into the Renekton, they obviously want to utilize the strength of this champion in the mid-game team fighting prowess that it can bring. As SK Prime, seems like they're maybe eyeing up something around the bottom side of the river, but they're just going to kind of disengage it. Maybe a blue buff invade, could have been a dragon startup, loads of different things were on the cards there. It will just be Shio laying over this blue buff. It's not often you see, well, blue buff dominated over to mid laners anymore on the first blue. Been a very long time.
Yeah.
To be entirely honest with you. I definitely don't do it, so I won't tell you.
I was going to say, at what point does he say, well, I don't do it, so no one does it, clearly? Because it's good to see, though, because Ari does a lot of damage. We like to see Dark going through Aircast with the ultimate immediately as Aloy keeps him locked up under tower. There's Thomas being popped. Seal is there. Can he find a stun? Can he find the damage? He can. And there's death from below as Seal grabs the kill, gives over some to his mates as well. Good little trade on the top side.
Yeah, Killball goes over to believe it was Alloys, and now they're actually rotated their whole bottom side up. Gadget's here as well, so they're going to be able to strip away a couple of plates. It looks like Rika's going to be on duty to clear away some of the waves here up on the top side, so it's not a complete wash on the bottom side. Alloys will go and cover. In the meanwhile, BDSA will go ahead and pick up this dragon, but this tower going to drop quite low. Plates will be given to Gadget. Strange control war.
Oh, nice charm from Rika. Might have the damage, but Gadget going to be able to back away. That Mythic really saved his bacon there.
Short bow, very, very powerful. And, I think, speaking of items, Adam just picked up that Blade of the Ring King, so if he ends up matching back into Alloys, definitely track how he does here. Crownie and Erdate doing some kind of poke, or are they just going towards the plate? It looks like it's just the plate they want. But once that Frost Armor's off, Sejuani with just a Warden's Mail, tanky, but can't sit in front of Lulu Aphelios for too long. Just look to go back for a reset. Gadget and Seal will come back to the bottom lane to match, but you can see, even though a lot of gold was just funneled into Gadget's back pocket, in total, ADCs, they're even. There's no difference between the two. They have the exact same amount of gold, so that'll be a Kraken Slayer or a Gale Force picked up for Crownie. Up to him. See, actually goes towards tier 2 boots instead. Doesn't want the Mythic pick up. Shit, might have been a little bit short perhaps with that dagger in his inventory. And yeah, I think relatively chill so far for both of these sides. I feel like that's probably going to benefit. In my head, it should be SK Prime. I look at this team fighting composition and I feel like they just have more engaged tools to work with. And I feel like at this moment in the map, the team that has more go buns just typically tends just ends up winning. Unless we see some really hectic early game where that team composition falls behind. And I'm just struggling to find where BDSA will consistently actually get fights going on their own terms outside of, you know, sort of fog of war picks, gravitum gun from Crowny, charm, some kind of insect into a high value target. Even then, there's only really one high value target that you can get in, and that's always going to be Gadget. You're going to look at just about everyone else on SK Prime to ensure that Shio never has the opportunity to do that.
And that's the main point, isn't it? You can't be fighting 5v5 front to back, but if you can find those flanks, if you can find access to the back line, and by back line, again, Gadget, because he's the only one that super matters in that situation, then you're going to have an excellent time. But if you can't find that pick or you can't find that flank, then SK Gaming Prime moving forward will be the team that you'd probably prefer to be on with the composition that they've built. But there's still plenty of League of Legends to be playing for, and only about a 500 gold lead to BDS Academy to play with. They did manage to pick themselves on the first dragon as well. Obviously, the mountain giving them a little bit of survivability, as Shio potentially moving down towards the bot lane. There's no one there ready to catch out, but maybe just looking to apply some pressure and take down this tower.
Yeah, I think with red-white, definitely a very big possibility, and no one's really here to answer it right now, so this will be the first tower of the game going over to Crowny. A lot of gold to hand over, and Emily's on the top side. We'll pick up that tower, and again, it's kind of one of these situations where, sure, they trade 1-for-1 in towers, but the gold goes into an Aphelios back pocket, and the set of gold goes into an Acidwan. So I feel like I know where the gold is worth more. The answer is almost always that's the almost always the Aphelios, but look at this.
Seal finds Crowdy, but then doesn't get the stun off and doesn't really commit because they were outnumbered until Phantomless moves down to join in. It's going to be the Rift Herald picked up by Ekas off screen as well, though, so good play from SK Gaming Prime. As Rika needs to be a little bit careful. Remember, the Vigers have that point and click. Gonna be popping it, catches him up in the air. Lois follows through. The cleanse is utilized. The charm lands on the Sedge. Lois not in too much fear as he will just back away.
Yeah, this is why you go with that cleanse spell book. Still gonna have access to all the different summoner spells, but you need that cleanse up and available for the Sejuani ultimate, for all of the CC that Lissandra will inevitably bring to a team fight. And now he's also got the heal, so whilst he doesn't have cleanse, he'll have an additional up in health, so always has a little bit extra to work with. Strong choice for him. See how much work Rika can get done. Just picked up the Leandries, a lot of front line to be hitting with that item. I wonder if this would have been a good Everfrost game. You know, shout out to our boy Nymera. I'll always mention him when there's an Ahri in the game.
Do you know what?
I feel like
it's always a good Everfrost game.
Yeah, you know, I feel like it normally is. But Leandris definitely makes a fair amount of sense. He's always going to have a target to burn damage. He's going to do a fair amount of work. And he definitely needs to be an additional damage threat. He doesn't really need to be a sort of, you know, more utility CC. He needs to have a little bit more damage underneath his belt. I think we're really having a Aphelios for that as the game sort of approaches its mid to late point. It's going to feel a little bit dangerous. BDSA, speaking of them, they're in the river first for this dragon. SK Prime, they've got the numbers in the mid lane, but they're actually not able to get themselves far enough up to clear out this wave. So the priority goes over to BDSA. Will they get into the river in time, or will SK actually force numbers in? It looks like they will. And they're just kind of playing cat and mouse.
Yeah, it was Aloy being a little bit slow to the play, but as soon as he turns up, there's a front line, there's some support, and the Rift Herald is going to make some noise in the mid lane, which means the BDS Academy are going to have to step forward and try and take it down. The charge comes through about half health on that tower, but this gives SK all the time in the world to move on forward, to take a little bit of zone. Rika missing out on the charm is pretty big, diving forward, looking for more, but can't find much. What's Pip going to do here? Catches Adam, but he doesn't take him over the wall, and the Renekton's not really someone you want to throw into your team as Rika throws himself towards the enemy team. Aloy moving forward, gets the stun onto Renekton, the damage going through. Gadget with the ultimate, looking to burn through the top lane, but can't find too much. Aloy goes low, Phantomless goes golden, but could well be assassinated. Shio dives forward to pick up the first kill of the fight, and just like that, SK Gaming Prime forced away, looking for a hook onto Adam. Will be able to find it, but the follow-up is slow. And BDS are the ones who can stun up the objective.
That's just such a good job from BDSA, guarding the entrance to the river there. And that's why choke control can be so important, because just look at how SK Prime got their health bars minced by so many different AoE abilities. I'm sure we will get a replay of that. It's well, it's the best soul in the game. Matt, who would have thunk it as BDSA, they get engaged on by alloys here. It's Adam gets, quite heavily chunked out. But look at this ultimate here. From crown shot, so much damage. Nothing that SK Prime Phantomless can do about it after the initial engage. That AoE just kind of means that that's a lost fight for SK Prime as soon as it begins. And it all comes from BDSA holding fast in that choke and Adam being such a big, beefy health bar that no one on SK Prime can actually get through.
Which could be a problem for them, especially in that mid-game where these picks are still super impactful and exactly how BDS want to be playing the game anyway. When the vision of the team comp and the most effective style of play at the time coincide, that's when you start cooking and you start performing. And for BDS Academy, of course, 1-0 up already in the group, unlike SK Gaming Prime, who lost their first matchup. If they can win this one, BDS that is, they're setting up a real gulf in the middle of this group stage and setting themselves up for a good time. Of course, still yet to face Heretics, which, if you've been watching European Masters, you know that's not super fun to do at the moment.
They're a pretty good team. It's funny you mentioned that, actually, because I hold that point. Crowny
might be called out. Teleport coming on through. They really want to take down Azavelios, but he's going to be on time with the Gale Force, and SK committing a lot, but ultimately gain very little.
I mean, they get the flash out of the Aphelios, so not too bad. A re-engage later on could mean he's dead. There's no Mikhails either as
Aloys.
Just caught out the re-engage there from BDSA. Means that he drops, and now they can actually pick up this mid lane tier 1. SK Prime is going to have to just yield this entirely. Really nice response from BDSA. Very, very sharp on the trigger for response. But yeah, what I wanted to kind of talk about is Rico continues to fish for picks. Maybe I'll have to hold the point because these two teams don't really want to give this one up just yet.
Just Bluffing to play around and gets out of range of Seal, who once again could cast the line and Hope. Unfortunately, Hope was really called that time around, but they are holding and probing and looking for an opportunity. Both of these teams still feeling in a scrappy mood, but I don't know if SK Gaming Prime really want to feel that way because it does just favor BDS Academy.
At the moment, it just feels like the team fights are going in favor of BDSA, right? They've been able to utilize the charm from Rika to burst down that target so quickly. Crowny's had strong ultimates as well to work around. I think SK Prime's composition is just going to need a little bit more time to come online so you can kind of recognize some of that front-to-back power. I think the crucial thing to note is that there's no, except for the top side matchup just now, there's not a major item discrepancy despite the huge gold lead, 2,000 at the moment. And that's always one thing you kind of have to track. Sometimes gold leads can be a bit deceiving, right? Item completions are what change how champions work. This Adam is going to be a lot of damage actually because there's Rika.
Yeah, Rika comes on through. Akas has to go golden to give some time for people to turn up, but no one's turned up for anything, and he goes down. That Phantomless using his ultimate to get away, but Seals also being deleted, and now Phantomless may well go the same way. It's a rout as BDS take 3.
That's a complete route, yeah. I mean, I'm not really sure what Ekos was thinking there. Could have just tried to loop away. I guess collapsed on now with all 3 of those members going down. That should just be Baron for BDSA. As easy as you like. And speaking of Rika, the man who made that skirmish work out, I dropped by a stream last night after his match yesterday against Valiance, and he was kind of saying, SK Prime might be something to deal with, but definitely more focused on Team Heretics. Not all too impressed with his team's performance yesterday as a whole, himself included. More looking forward to the matchup against the Spanish champions. Right now been playing as if he's just trying to fast speed run towards that matchup. And of course, at this rate, 2-0 both of the teams will be looking at as, Ekas, I mean, maybe he's expecting faster follow-up for Phantomless, but it looks like the trade actually came in from Rika beforehand. Phantomless a little bit chunked out, and just gets jumped onto, and then Phantomless, confusingly enough, goes in after the fact, still gets caught out on the rotation. Loads of different decisions just being capitalized on by BDSA. Not really too much to say about that one. Bit of a head scratcher. SK Prime there looking for a pick. Adam is a little bit too damn tanky, to be honest with you, but look at Phantomless, because he's a little bit of fog of war. BDSA can spot this one out via Adam.
It is dark for BDSA, and SK can jump onto Adam. They're committing members, but nice flash to avoid the ultimate from Sejuani, and now they can look to turn it around. The speed is popped as Seal goes low, but we'll be able to get away. Adam still chasing forward, looking towards the pike as Ekas wants to clear out these minions and make it harder and harder to dive. But Shio gets the kick back onto Aloy, who's caught up, and they're looking to move forward onto bigger, fishier targets. Gadget diving around, but will go low. The exhaust secures his fate, as it looks like BDSA gonna take everything that they want, really. Ekas the only survivor, and they can grab the dragon as well.
Yeah, it just feels like to me, SK Prime in general, they're doing their best really to stay competitive, right? Stay kind of proactive there, but just absolutely removed surgically by BDSA. Flank gets caught out, and all of a sudden, SK Prime in a super awkward position where they're just being collapsed on their side of the map. Back down towards the bottom side. See, it starts with a pick, an attempted pick onto Adam. Glacial Prison goes right, and at this point, so many members are out of position because they tried to capitalize on the initial part of the engage. That Adam's able to punch out Seal with the teammate there. It's actually Furnival, I think, in the end, ends up clipping him. And yeah, too much of a collapse is now Adam.
A lot of trouble here, chased over by Aloys, and members of SK will be able to find him. That's a nice pickup
Do they just
for
flip the
the Prime League side. Do they flip it?
Looks like the answer's going to be no. Crownie has Infernum and Light Gun, which is not like the best combination of guns in the world, but for a clumped up teamfight in Baron, honestly, you take them. As it's like they all just disengage, walk away with the pick, be happy with that. The SK Prime, I feel like this was kind of a criticism I had mentally of them yesterday. Whilst the bottom side of the map was kind of being slammed by Jack Spectra and White in with the Nami Lucian, it felt like they had the opportunity maybe to try and play towards the top side, find, you know, some kind of leverage and gold there, and they never ended up doing it. And then it kind of bled into a mid-game play pattern where they weren't really too proactive either. This game, it feels like there's been definitely more signs of life, but BDSA have just responded so quickly to shut those down. It's felt almost impossible to really find some skirmishes. Now Seal's in trouble.
Seal. They found him, and the pike goes low. Members commit forward, and he's just a little bit too squishy. Caught out Rika with the final skill shot to take him down. And BDSA, they feel confident starting this one up.
Yep, no reason to doubt them here. And Seal just caught out of position, poking Project, trying to find some kind of vision in the river for his team, but just goes down. Does enough with his own movement, but you say too squishy. Now BDSA, this Baron's theirs. You'll have to imagine they're going to try to look to open up the base at the very least with this buff. So far ahead. 9,000 gold. This Baron buff. Let's see what they can do with it.
I feel like they're going to be comfortable to break some too much outside the base, because they've already taken 2 inners and all the outers have already fallen. Crowley moving forward, looking to get onto Phantomless, but Lissandra a little bit too quick to get away, but the tower can't escape, so that one's going to be falling. 25, almost 26 minutes on the clock, and the first inhibitor will break down, or the inhibitor tower, I should say. The inhibitor itself will stand. A bit of a bounty collected on the bot side for SK Gaming Prime. They will lose everything on the top side as well outside of the base, and that just means it's inhibitor towers or nothing. As SK, can they clear out? Can they survive this?
I mean, they don't really have too much wave clear to work with. They do have a lot of engage options though, so if BDSA split up a little bit too much perhaps, but look at Rika.
All the damage going down onto Aloy. That's a lot onto Sejuani. Polymorph and almost assassinated, but looking to get forward now. Rika on the side, putting in damage on the Phantom. It goes golden at last second. They just don't have enough, but they're looking to try it anyway. As Gadget strafing forward, looking to pick up members, but the front line's gone, and Gadget is chased away. Members are committing, their health bars are low as Shio arrives in the fight as well. BDSA, Adam on a triple, can't find the Quadra because it's Rika all the way, and BDSA can push forward and end out this game.
It's a full house to end this game for BDSA. Double, triple. Get the inhibitor in the mid lane. They find the fight in the top side. I think Shio was tanking tower. That's why he stopped watching. There's no minion wave, so actually, they can use the top side. Phantomless will spawn up. This should still be game. Or maybe they just play it safe. Don't give over some kills. And it looks like that will be the case. So this game isn't quite going to wrap up just yet. Definitely does feel almost inevitable. BDSA are in more than a commanding lead, as Seal looks like he's just going to play nuisance. But Rika's still around. Ah, Seal's dead.
Through, and
okay,
actually the charm missing means that Seal is very, very capable of getting away. Now it's going to be Sejuani chasing towards Aloy, or Adam even, because Aloy won't chase himself. as he's looking towards Rika. There's the Banshee's Veil popped. He goes golden. Who's coming in? Hodoge is running. He's only got 4 legs and turns the damage around as Rika goes long to Warcraft, saves him, and now he can secure the kill. Chasing forward, Shio might be a little bit extended there, but he goes in regardless. The kick on the 2. Gadget is deadly. Chasing towards Phantomless. Adam's there as well. He's cut down. Crowny with the kill. As I don't know, Akash, I don't think there's any way of you re-engaging this one. Adam still has that Baron buff and is diving forward. Seal hangs around. He's invisible, but all he can do is sit and watch. Can he find anything? Rika gets hooked, but I don't think the BDSA have any real worries. It took them a little bit longer than we maybe expect, but they will pick up the win over, oh my goodness, Seal. That's not fun. BDSA 2-0, undefeated so far in this group.
Not bad at all from BDSA. The expectation